Hi, it's Gary. Welcome to today's video. Start of September, start of a brand new month of pens for me. The theme this month, I've called it, Ooh, that's different. And it's all about looking at pens that I think either look or behave differently from the rest of my collection. So join me now down on the mat and let's take a look at the pens I'm going to be using this month. Here we are down on the mat. Time to jump on in and take a look at the pens that I'm going to be using during September of 2022. The first one, this is the Fuliwen 017, and this is a bright pen. As I'm spinning this round, there's blue, green, yellow, red, bit of black. This is a pen, I don't think there's any colour I could not use in this pen. Really nice. If I unscrew it, there we are, nice wide section, number 6 nib, and this is a cartridge converter. But this is a Fuliwen, and it's 017. The nib is a medium. It cost me 38 Australian dollars. The ink, it's a long name, is Robert Oster, and it's Australian. Sky blue. And it does look like a sky blue to me. It really is well named. Yeah, the blues in here, we've got a lot of darker blues, but then we do have some of this paler blue, so I think, we're picking up the ink quite nicely. Let's look at drying times. Immediate. Fairly dry by the look of it. 10 seconds. Almost dry there. 30 seconds. 30 seconds, teeniest of little smudges, but I'm not even going to do a 1 minute test on this. Very dry pen. And it feels dry when I'm writing with it. So this is one I'm interested to see how I go through the month. What I may do is I may try and work on the tines a little bit, maybe spread those tines a little bit, see if I can increase the wetness on this pen. The other issue I do have with it, it rolls away very easily, doesn't have a roll stop. But this is the Fuliwen 017. The next pen, again I'm choosing this because of some different design pattern on it. It's down to the design here on the cap. So this is the Dian N7, and this is the peacock version. You can see there we've got the peacock tail, and I think these are all meant to be something to do with peacock tails, maybe a peacock feather. Nice pen. Again, I like this colouring. I like the green of it. I know there is a grey version, but this one just speaks to me. It's another number 6 size nib. I like the nib on this. Just look at the two-tone effect. I like the two-tone nibs. I think they've just got that little bit more of an attractive nature to them. The pen is a little bit on the short side. The section though is nice and wide. It feels like it's a metal section, so one of the things I'll be looking at is, do my fingers slip around whilst I'm using this? Especially because there's no lip at the bottom, so does my finger slip off the end? I hold my pens fairly low down, so that's something I do need to look at. We have got an ink window. This is a piston filling pen. Obviously I'm not going to work the piston, but at least I can monitor for my ink levels on here. So here we have the Dian N7 with a fine nib. And the cost was 45 Australian dollars. The ink by Diamine, and it's Yuletide. Nice tealy colour ink, but it's hard really to see the colour because this is a very fine nib. I would argue to say, is this nib actually an extra fine? It seems so narrow of a line. Let's look at drying times. So immediate, 10 seconds, 30 seconds, 1 minute, still smudging a bit at that 1 minute mark. Let's do a 2 minute test. After 2 minutes, yeah, we're dry now. So this is the Dian N7 with that very wet, fine nib and Diamine Yuletide. My third pen for the month, this one, well, to be honest, all the rest of the pens, they're all down to the Lux. That's why I've picked them. But this one, it's a copper pen. This is the Retro 51 Tornado. And this is covered in copper. Now, I've only had this maybe about a month. And I was hoping that it would patina, but someone told me there's a coating on there which will prevent that. But we'll have to see how it goes. I think, yes, this is nice as this copper colour. And you can see, I don't know if that's where it's been sanded, but it looks like there's lines going through it. Nice pen. This has got a 1.1 stub nib on. Again, it's another nice sized nib. The pen itself does feel a little bit on the short side, and the section is a little bit too narrow for me. I'm very picky about this though. I like to be able to feel the sections. I don't like my fingers touching when I'm writing. Let's move the paper up slightly. I will do some writing with this one. So this is the Retro 51 Tornado. It's got a 1.1 stub nib. It cost me 105 Aussie dollars. The ink, well, it's a copper pen, so it's only right that I use a copper ink. It's by Diamine. And it's vintage copper. I do like the way that this ink looks with this pen. Just pop the pen next to it there. You know, you can definitely see the copper there in the both of them. I don't see a lot of shimmer, but I know there is a little bit of shimmer in this ink. It's hard to see on here, but it's one of the things as we go through the month, that's what I'll keep my eye out for. Drying times. So we've got immediate. So we've got a bit of blue ink on my fingers from the previous pen. 10 seconds. 30 seconds. Still smudging, but only a teeniest amount. Let's go for the 1 minute test. After a minute, yeah, that's more or less dry now. So this is the Retro 51 Tornado, and I just love the way this vintage copper looks in there. Look, we're seeing some shading coming through there quite nicely as well. Pen number 4. It's the big boy. This is the Ranga Model 5. This notebook, it's a B5 Oxford optic paper. And you can see here, the pen hardly fits on it, does it? It's such a big pen. I like this though. It's another one, I think it would have been nice with a roll stop, because I quite often find this does roll around. Take the cap off. Even with the cap off, this pen is very long. Yes, you could post it if you want to. I've got to be honest, that's so back heavy and clumsy when it's got that on there. And even given the length, why would you really want to do that? But some people do, and that's down to them. Very wide section, and it's got a very noticeable lip down here at the bottom. You know, I can feel that, and this is one of the downsides with this pen, because I quite often find that lip is so big it digs into my finger. This pen, at the moment, I've got, if we get there, there we go, I've got a converter in there. This is the converter that comes with the pen, but this pen can be eyedroppered. I think if I was to eyedropper this pen, I'd get maybe 2 years out of it, or I'd have to write an awful lot with it because it would take so much ink. But here we have the Ranga Model 5. We've got a broad nib on here, and this cost 142 Australian dollars. The ink is by Dominant Industry. And it's called Forest. It's a really nice green ink. And again, I think it goes quite nice with this pen. Drying times, so we got immediate, 10 seconds, 30 seconds, wow, we've gone from fairly wet at 10 seconds to nearly dry at 30. 1 minute. Yeah, as we expect, after 1 minute, that's nice and dry. So this Ranga Model 5 with Dominant Industry Forest. Just going to move the paper up so we can get the last 2 pens on here. The 5th pen, it's the sparkly pen. It's the Benu Talisman. The pattern of this is Dragon's Blood. I've got to be honest, and I know I keep saying this every time I fetch this pen out, this should be called something like the Christmas tree to me. You know, this is so sparkly, it reminds me of Christmas. And it's a pen that I intend to use every Christmas because I think it's just so sparkly. Look, we've got this gorgeous greens and reds. One of the things I like with this pen though is the body. There's facets on the body, but not just 1 or 2. So we've got 1 facet here, then slightly offset, we've got another little facet below it. So we've got offset facets all the way around, and even the same on the cap. It's hard to really show on a camera. It's a very tactile thing, but it's something that I like. Nice, comfortable pen, just about the right size for me. The section, yep, again, just about nice. Maybe could do with being a little bit wider, but that's just my personal choice. It's another pen. It's all plastic, so I'm wondering if I can get away with the eyedropper in this. As you can see, not much ink left in this converter. This is one where I'll be changing the ink partway through the month. But we've got here is a Benu Talisman. Broad nib. This cost 167 Australian dollars. The ink is by Pure Pens, and it's John Frost. Hard to see on here, but this ink has got a nice red sheen to it. So we've got the green base, and then we've got the red sheen coming through, which is why I think it's a good match for this green and red pen. Drying times, so immediate, 10 seconds, 30 seconds, 1 minute, still smudging ever so tiny. Let's go for 2 minutes. Yeah, still getting even a tiny smudge there. I don't know if you can see that. That's after 2 minutes. So a very, very wet combo. So this, it's the Benu Talisman with Pure Pens John Frost. The final pen. This is currently the prettiest pen that I own. I really love the looks of this pen. It's by Narwhal, and it's the 365 from 2021, and it's in the Cano Cristales pattern. So this is a Nautilus style pen. It's Jonathan Brooks Primary Manipulation 3.5 material. Just look at this as I'm turning it around. This is such a gorgeous looking pen. I mean, the colours, there's some of them really slap you in the face, but then you've got some subtle colours in there as well. And the way it bounces the light is changing them colours as I'm spinning the pen around. Such a nice pen. I say it's the Nautilus body shape. I like the Nautilus pens, I really do. Nice wide section, nice length there on the pen. Does not post. There's no way you could post that. I don't think it matters, but certainly for me it doesn't matter because I think it's just a nice size. Let's do a bit of writing with this. So we've got here the Narwhal, and yes, I'm using the old spelling because that's what it was called when I bought it. 365 from 2021. I know, quite a mouthful, isn't it? I'm not going to put the model name, but it's the Cano Cristales. This has got a medium nib, and it cost me 241 Australian dollars. The ink is by Diamine, and it's ancient copper. I see a load of shading coming through when I write with this, and I think the ancient copper is a really good match for that orangey coppery colour that's in the material. Drying times for this, so we've got immediate, 10 seconds, 30 seconds, 1 minute, still looks a little bit smudgy, 2 minutes. Yeah, after 2 minutes there, we're nice and dry. So this is the Narwhal 365 in Cano Cristales with Diamine ancient copper. Just going to swap over and fetch the pens in for one final look. Here we've got the pens I'm going to be using during September of 2022. We've got the Fuliwen 017 with Robert Oster Australian Sky Blue, the Dian N7 with Diamine Yuletide, the Retro 51 Tornado with Diamine Vintage Copper, a pen that doesn't fit in the tray no matter how I try, a Ranga Model 5 with Dominant Industry Forest, the Benu Talisman with Pure Pens John Frost, and the Narwhal 365 Cano Cristales with Diamine Ancient Copper. I hope you've enjoyed today's video. What pens are you going to be using this month? Are you using a theme? If so, what is that theme? Please drop a comment down below. Let's kickstart the conversation. Please hit the thumbs up button every time you like, every time you comment. Just helps with the YouTube algorithm. If you haven't already, please subscribe to my channel so that you can get new videos as I release them. I'll talk to you again soon.